Hi everyone, my name is Paige. Welcome to the yoga page. We've got a 40-minute high energy heat building morning flow to get your day started. So if you have any props, I would recommend a block and potentially a folded blanket. And if you don't have a block, you could also use a pillow, you could use a tissue box, a book, anything of that sort. If you enjoy practicing with music, I'll have a link down in the description. And if you prefer to practice without, we will go ahead and get started. Let's begin in child's pose. Coming into the middle of your mat, you'll bring big toes to touch, knees come as wide as the mat. Hips reach back towards the heels. Forehead kisses the earth. Elbows can rest gently on the mat, or you can press into the palms of your hands, lifting the elbows up, sending your hips deeper towards the heels. And just begin to settle into your breath. As you inhale, feel the rib cage expanding through the sides and the back body. And as you exhale, belly button hugs in towards the spine, pushing all the air out. Soften between the eyebrows and the jaw. Take one more full round of breath. And after your final exhale, we'll press up into tabletop. Hands come underneath the shoulders, knees come underneath the hips. And we'll just begin by taking a few circles. So reaching forward through the crown of the head, circling over the hands. You might press all the way back to your heels, or you can keep it more lifted. Totally up to you. And we'll go ahead and switch sides. Circling the other direction, warming up through the wrists and the shoulders. 2 more times, wherever you're at. And we'll meet back in the middle to move through a few cat-cows. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, open through the collarbones. Exhale, press through the hands, curve through the spine, let the chin drop in towards the chest. Inhale to drop the belly. And exhale to curl through the spine. Moving just like that with your own breath. We'll come back to a neutral spine. Bring the big toes to touch, send the hips back towards the heels for child's pose. Just a couple rounds of breath. We'll walk our hands back towards our knees, coming into a kneeling position. If this is really hard for your knees, you can always come on to a full sit. But wherever you're at, we're gonna make fists with our hands, and we're just gonna gently tap up and down the arm, coming up into the shoulder area, to the back of the neck. And we're just gently tapping. Coming onto the back of the arm now, moving up and down. And we'll go ahead, switch sides. Moving up and down the arm and shoulder area. And come onto the wrist and the top of the hand. And if you haven't already, flip the arm over to get the bottom side. Now we'll take both fists, moving up and down the belly and the chest. You might get the side body. And whatever you can reach on the back. Just gently tapping. You can move down into the glutes. And we'll move onto the tops of the legs. Moving up and down to the inside and the outside of the legs. There's no science here. We're just waking up the body. And once you feel nice and steady with that, we'll move back into our tabletop position. Hands coming underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes. And we're gonna lift the knees just above the mat to a hover. Pressing through the hands, shoulder blades hug away from each other. Hugging the low ribs in. And keeping the spine nice and long. And on your next inhale, we'll lift the hips up for downward facing dog. Taking a moment to walk your dog, bending through one knee and then the other. You might play with the width of your feet or the width of your hands here. And find a position that feels the best for your shoulders, for your hamstrings. You can keep a slight bend in the knees to help elongate through the backs of the legs. And we'll meet in stillness, activating through the shoulders and letting the head hang heavy. Gaze up and between the hands and take a slow walk to the top of the mat. Feet come hips width distance or wider. And we'll find a forward fold. Fingertips can come to a block or to the earth. Keeping a slight bend in the knees. And we're going to go ahead and make those fists again. And we're going to do our light taps up and down the backs of our legs. Moving from our hamstrings to our calves. Moving from the inside to the outside. Just up and down, light taps. And we'll get the fronts of the legs again, finding the front of the shins, the calf area, the outer calf. And whenever you're ready, we'll drop the hands into a forward fold and take a slow roll all the way to standing. Shoulders and head are the last to lift to find Tadasana, mountain pose. We root down through the heels and the tailbone. And we lift through the crown of the head, opening through the collarbones. Palms of the hands face forward. Take a deep inhale, expanding through the rib cage. And exhale, pressing it all out. On your next inhale, arms circle up overhead, Urdhva Hastasana, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant the palms, step back to plank. Heels reach towards the back of the mat. We're pressing through the hands, keeping the shoulders engaged. Belly button hugs in towards the spine. We gaze down, maybe slightly in front of the hands. From here, we'll lower the knees all the way down to the mat, bending through the elbows, coming all the way down onto the belly. Inhale, head and shoulders lift, baby cobra. And exhale to lower, pressing back through your tabletop or your plank to meet in downward facing dog. Gaze in between the hands. You can step, walk, or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. And exhale to forward fold. Inhale, slow roll all the way to stand. To find Tadasana, mountain pose. Grounding down through all four corners of the feet. And finding an openness, a softness through the upper body. Inhale, circle arms up overhead. And exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, plant the palms, step back to plank. And we'll move through your flow, either keeping knees lifted or option to lower them, always option to lower. And then you can lower all the way down to the belly, taking baby cobra, or you might lower halfway and then lift up, coming onto the tops of the feet. Thighs hover just above the mat for upward facing dog. And then wherever you're at, moving back through your plank or your tabletop to meet in downward facing dog. You always have the option whenever we move through chaturanga to take either one of those flows, or you always have the option to rest in child's pose. Listen to your body and what it's telling you, and just move through whatever feels the best that day. Inhale, we'll gaze up in between the hands, step, walk, or hop to the top of the mat. Inhaling, halfway lift, flat back, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roll to rise, arms circle up overhead, palms meet in the middle, coming down to heart center. Inhale, arms circle up overhead. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, send the hips down, lifting through the arms to find chair pose. Weight roots down through the heels, hugging the low ribs in just slightly. If you have tight shoulders, feel free to take a wider stance on the arms. And exhale, forward fold. We'll plant the palms, step back to plank. And hips lift up for downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts, 3-point. Hips stay square with the mat. And then exhale, we'll hug the knee in towards the nose, stepping the right foot in between the hands, pivoting on the back foot for warrior one. Arms lifting up overhead. Back foot comes to a 45-degree angle. Right knee stays stacked over right ankle. If you're feeling quite wobbly here, making sure your feet are on two separate planes rather than lined up in one straight line. Having that wider stance will just make things feel a little bit more stable. Exhale, we'll frame the front foot, plant the palms, step back to your plank. Move through your flow here or skip it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises, 3-point. Exhale, left knee hugs in towards the nose, stepping left foot in between the hands, pivoting onto the back right foot, lifting arms up overhead. Our right foot is at a 45-degree angle. Left toes face forward. Left knee stays stacked over left ankle. Inhale, reaching through the fingertips. Exhale, plant the palms. Step back to plank. And moving through your flow to meet in downward facing dog. Taking a couple moments here to catch your breath. Inhaling through the nose. An option to exhale, let it out through the mouth. Inhale, gaze up in between the hands. Step, hop, or walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. And exhale, hips root down, arms lift up overhead for chair pose. Inhale, straighten through the legs for standing. Hands come to heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, arms circle up overhead. And exhale, sending the hips down, rooting through all four corners of the feet, finding chair pose. Opening through the arms. Inner thighs hug together. Inhale, finding stork pose, lifting right knee in towards the chest, flexing through the right foot. And exhale, sending the right foot all the way to the back of the mat for warrior three. Right leg stays hovering. Hands can come to heart center or reach forward. Keeping your gaze focused on a spot. We'll lower the back foot all the way down to find warrior two. Back foot comes parallel with the back edge of the mat. And find heel to heel or heel to arch alignment, meaning that your front heel, if you draw a straight line, it will intersect with the back arch or the back heel. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Left fingertips reach up towards the sky, stretching through the left side body. Exhale, side angle. Left elbow to left knee. Right arm reaches up and overhead. Pressing into the left forearm, opening out through the right shoulder. Engaging through the left glute by pressing into all four corners of your front foot. Gaze can be straight out or up towards the ceiling. On your next exhale, we'll bring the right hand all the way down to the mat, pivoting onto the back toes. Left hand reaches up towards the sky. And if it feels okay, we'll take a small bind by reaching the back of the left hand around the back of the right hip. So the back of your left hand is pressing into your right glute. Start pressing into your right hand, activating through the right shoulder, and we'll flip onto the outside of the right foot, walking the left foot about halfway down the mat. Option to stay here in the supported side plank, or you can find a full side plank. Bringing the left foot on top of the right. Activating through the right side body. Pressing through the right hand. You got this. And we'll find our plank, bringing left hand underneath the left shoulder, moving through your flow. We're all going to meet in child's pose. Bringing the hips to the heels, big toes to touch, resting the forehead into the earth. Taking a moment to recalibrate, soften. We'll press back up into our tabletop. Tuck our toes, lift our hips, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Gaze up in between the hands. Step, hop, or walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Arms circle up overhead. And hands meet at heart center. Inhale, circle arms up overhead, gaze can follow. Exhale, sending the hips back down towards the heels, reaching through the fingertips to find chair pose. Inhale to stand, reaching left knee towards the chest, flexing through the left foot, fingertips stay reaching overhead. Find a spot to steady your gaze. We're going to hinge over the front leg, reaching the left foot all the way back for warrior three. We're reaching through the back heel almost as if you're pressing your left foot into a wall behind you. Hands can stay extending forward or come to heart center. If you wobble, that's okay. Coming back into your pose. And we'll slowly lower our left foot all the way down to the back of the mat, pivoting onto our left foot for warrior two. Settling in here, softening through the shoulders. Gaze is out over our front middle finger. Inhale, reverse your warrior, stretching through the right side body. Exhale for side angle. Right elbow to right knee, left arm up and overhead. Press into your right forearm, open out through your left shoulder. Gaze can stay straight ahead or look up towards the ceiling. We're activating through the right glute by pressing into all four corners of the right foot. Exhale, left hand plants on the inside of the right foot. Left arm reaches up overhead. Option to keep the arm lifted or take a bind, reaching the right hand behind the left hip. Activate through the left shoulder by pressing into the left hand. And we'll pivot onto the outside edge of the left foot, walking the right foot about halfway down the mat. Option to stay here or take full side plank, bringing the right foot to stack on top of the left. Staying strong through the left side body. You got this. And we'll come back into our plank. Right hand plants underneath right shoulder. Move through your flow or rest. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Whenever you're ready. You always have the option to pause the video and take a longer rest if you'd like. Inhale to gaze in between the hands. Step, hop, or walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Arms circle up overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, we'll come into our chair pose, rooting down through the heels. Inhale, right knee lifts for stork pose. And exhale, warrior three. Staying strong through the right glute, hugging your standing hip in. We'll take the left hand to a block or to the mat. Right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. We're opening through the right leg for half moon. Right leg steps all the way to the back of the mat, opening out for warrior two. Inhale to reverse your warrior, and exhale for side angle. Inhale, moving back through warrior two, straighten through the front leg, turn the left toes to face the long edge of the mat. Inhale, arms lift up overhead, and exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, coming up onto the fingertips. Exhale, turn to frame the right foot this time, facing the back edge of the mat. You might readjust yourself, realign. And then we'll plant the palms and move through your flow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Gaze in between the hands. Step, hop, or walk to the top of the mat. We're facing to the back of the mat still. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Circle arms up overhead. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, hips root down, arms lift up overhead for chair pose, Utkatasana. Rooting down through all four corners of the feet. On your next inhale, left knee lifts towards the chest for stork pose. And exhale, sending the left foot all the way back for warrior three. Here for just a moment to find half moon. Right hand comes down to find a block or the mat, opening out through the left hip, reaching towards the sky with the left fingertips. Pressing into that left heel. And exhale, grounding down through the left foot to find warrior two. Take a moment, find your alignment. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And exhale for side angle. Inhale, coming back through warrior two. Straighten through the front leg, turn the right toes to face the long edge of the mat. Inhale, lift up overhead. And exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Hands can stay on the mat, or you can take a bind, grabbing the outside of each ankle. Inhaling, straightening through the spine, reaching through the crown of the head. And exhale to deepen the fold. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips come to the mat. And exhale, turning to frame the front foot. We'll plant the palms, step back to plank, and we'll all lower onto our belly. Forehead kisses the mat. Arms reach back, down by the sides. Palms of the hands are flat against the earth. We'll start to press into the tops of the feet. Hug the shoulder blades in together. And on your next inhale, we'll lift the head, the arms, and then the legs to find locust pose, Shalabhasana. Gaze is down to stay long through the spine. And on your next inhale, you might lift a little bit higher, reaching through the fingertips, reaching through the toes. Stick with your breath and activate through the glutes to support the low back. Inhale, lifting a little higher if you can. Exhale, lowering all the way to the mat, making a pillow with your forearms, sending your gaze to one side. And then we'll bend through the knees, windshield wiper through the legs. Bringing the tops of the feet onto the mat. We'll bring hands underneath the shoulders and press back into a child's pose. We'll walk the hands back towards the knees. Send the feet to one side. And we'll scooch into the middle of our mat, if you're towards the back. And we'll keep our knees bent, soles of the feet come to the earth. And we'll grab the backs of our thighs, scooching onto the soft part of the glutes, activating through the core, lifting through the crown of the head. And then you can stay here, or if you'd like to move deeper, lifting the feet off the ground, bringing the shins parallel with the ceiling. For boat pose, Option to stay here or reach your hands forward, palms of the hands face the sky. And then you can stay here, or you might straighten through the legs. Wherever you're at, we'll bring the hands back behind the legs and slowly roll all the way down to our backs. Soles of the feet come to the earth. And we'll cross our right leg over our left. Arms come out to a cactus. And we'll let the knees fall to the left. Gaze can stay up towards the ceiling or out over your left shoulder, or your right shoulder. Gaze back up towards the ceiling, hug the knees, back towards the middle, uncross the legs, and switch sides. Left leg crosses over right, and we'll let the knees fall to the right. Gazing out over your left shoulder this time. Gaze back up towards the ceiling. Hug the knees back in towards the middle. Uncross the legs. And we'll roll all the way back up to find a sit. We'll send both legs out in front of us. If you have a folded blanket, you can prop it up underneath your hips to help tilt the pelvis forward. Inhale, we'll reach the arms up overhead. And exhale, we're going to fold forward just a couple of inches, keeping the gaze out beyond the front of the mat. As we exhale, we'll move forward a couple inches deeper. You might bend through the knees slightly. And we're imagining our belly button is being pulled towards our thighs. We'll move as deep as feels comfortable. That allows you to keep a nice and steady breath. Listen to your body, stay safe. And then you can allow your head to hang heavy. Inhale, coming back up to a sit. We'll bring the soles of the feet together, knees fall wide. For Baddha Konasana, hands can wrap around the ankles or the toes. Inhale, straighten through the spine, lift through the crown of the head. You can stay here if this feels like a deep enough stretch, or option to hinge, folding over your hips. We'll come back up to a comfortable sit. You can cross one ankle in front of the other. Hands come to the tops of the thighs or the knees. Root down through the sit bones. Reach tall through the spine. And then soften through the shoulders. We'll bring hands to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. If you're just starting your day, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you're winding down for the night, I hope you have an amazing rest of your evening. I hope to practice with you again soon. Namaste.